Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, we're going to be going over the comeback of the freaking Diablo 4 Kingdom over here. Like, I don't really know what to say other than this. It's one of those items that just didn't really work out. It was neat in concept, and I think for the most part, people were interested in the potentiality of it, but they didn't really like how it actually worked. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Soulbrand. Soulbrand is one of those items that just like never really functioned properly when they released it, and it's unfortunate because it was kind of a neat concept, but it missed the mark. Now, in 1.5.0, they beefed it up tremendously, and I think, honestly, at this point, it probably gives Tyrael's a run for its money if you're using the right build and you get the right modifiers. I think one of the biggest issues with this is just simply finding one that's in a good shape to actually use properly for what you're trying to do. Now, what does Soulbrand have? Let's go over it together, and I will defend my bold claim that it's better than Tyrael's in the coming video. So first off, Soulbrand does have a HP of 734 to 1004, which is a pretty high. 873 is usually the cutoff for most of the life bonuses that are generic. Like when you see like a generic life bonus, like Bloodmoon Beaches has 873. 873 is the same on these gloves and so forth and so on. So when you see higher than 873, that's a little bit more HP than what they normally give you. On top of this, it also gives us +2 to potion capacity, which will come in handy for the way that this item works, and we'll talk about that later. You can also get barrier generation on this, and as you can see, mine is masterworked currently, which is actually that might be why the HP is a little bit higher too, come to think of it. But that one can go up to 56%. I think it's 40% on this one. Yeah, 40% on the base. On top of this, we also get damage reduction from Healthy, which is up to 12.5% damage reduction from Healthy, which means that your HP just needs to be above 80%. Now, because of the way that this works, and the goal of this is to have a barrier active at all time, you should always be healthy, which means that the damage reduction while healthy should always be active, which is very nice. On top of this, it also has a special effect. So let's go over the special effect together. Your healing potion no longer heals and instead instantly grants a barrier for 200% of the original healing for 4 seconds. And this is pretty cool because it's basically just a free barrier whenever you need it. For instance, if I'm using my HP right now, boom, I can just go ahead and use a potion if I have the Soulbrand equipped, and bam, now I have an 8,252 barrier. I can take another potion, and I can refresh that duration, and that's just going to give me a nice little barrier for 4 seconds no matter what. On top of this, it also gives you a damage reduction bump of 30% while you have an active barrier and allows you to drink your potion while you are at full life, which is not something that you can normally do. This particular item, however, if you get it with greater affixes, as you can see, I can get up to 1,310 maximum life, 3 potion capacity, and I can also get a maximum of 20.6 damage reduction, which is pretty freaking beast. Combined with the 30% damage reduction that's on the item and then fully masterworked, you can actually get, I think I theory crafted out like exactly how much you could potentially end up with, and I think it was something almost like 80% damage reduction from this particular piece of equipment. Now, the really interesting thing is that when you combine this with other items, but let's read the flavor text first. To create such an artifact would require an impossible mastery over alchemy, transmutation, and subtle magics of the soul. By all rights, it should not exist, yet it does. Artisan Callus. Now, another item that exists within the world is the Temerity Pants. Now, I've gone over the Temerity Pants before, but the beauty of the Temerity Pants is that they basically offer you the ability to heal yourself and in the process give yourself a barrier which is now up to 100% of your maximum life. And they also offer you a lucky hit chance for you to be able to heal yourself with and a damage reduction while healthy. Which means that if you use Soulbrand and Temerity together to basically maintain a permanent barrier on yourself at all times, you get a pretty massive, like, what is that, like 20.6 plus 13.5 damage reduction plus the 30% damage reduction plus a constant never-ending barrier that you can maintain up on yourself. Now, in the past, the 30% damage reduction, for some reason with the barrier, wasn't working, but it does seem to be working now, and I've tested it out pretty significantly. Now, the problem with this is that it doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody is going to have the ability to maintain a barrier with 100% uptime. Some people are. The Necromancer, for instance, can do it with the Shielding Storm aspect, which gives 5% to, or was it 6? Actually, did they beef? I think they beefed it up in the latest patch. Let me go double check, because I don't think it's 6% anymore. I think it got a little beef up, and it also got changed from base life to maximum life. So it's a pretty huge buff at this point. So if you were using Shielding Storm and you could keep Shielding Storm up with 100% efficiency, at this point you can basically maintain your barrier 100% of the time. Let me pull up Shielding Storm. Yes, it's 6% of your maximum life for 10 seconds now, instead of 6% of your base life. So very, 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 very nice at this point. There are also other characters that can definitely get a very good use out of this for barriers. And if we talk about some of these, obviously the Druid can spam Earthen Bulwark whenever he wants to. There's also a barrier that he can get while shapeshifting now in the glyphs, which is really nice. The Sorceress also has a barrier that can be cast basically anytime that she uses a cooldown. And if you're spamming as many cooldowns as you possibly can, you're going to get a lot of barriers this way as well. You can also get barriers through the ice armor. There's so many different ways to get barriers on characters these days, including the healing loop. Now, the healing loop is one of the more fun ones, and that basically just involves you dishing out as many attacks as you can and healing yourself through the temerities, right? Well, you can do that through the Undying aspect. You can do that through Andariel's Visage. You can do that. You can also combine it with the Starlight aspect to get your resource back, which is pretty cool. The Rogue has a lot of ways that she can get a life back now through Dark Shroud. She has a really nice one by having an ultimate on her bar. She also has Siphoning Strikes. There's just so many good ways to heal now. Like in terms of like per second, you get health per second, you can get life per hit, you can get this Undying aspect. There's tons of them, right? So you can easily maintain a permanent uptime on barrier with Temerity, and then gain the massive amounts of damage reduction from Soulbrand. Now, the key to this, unfortunately, is finding a Soulbrand that actually has, number one, the greater affix on the damage reduction while healthy, and number two, actually has the 30% damage reduction from the barrier, which unfortunately rolls between 10 to 30%. As you can see here, I got a 30% damage reduction on the barrier, but didn't get the greater affix on the damage reduction while healthy. And this one, I got the damage reduction while healthy, but didn't get the damage reduction on the barrier. So neither one of these is going to compete with Tyrael's at the moment because they're not quite good enough. But if you had a really nice quad greater affix version of this, you would of course get a massive bump in life. You'd get extra potions, of course, which you could spam for barriers. You would also get the additional barrier generation, which is going to be really nice for obviously whatever barrier generation effects that you're trying to use. And then you're going to get the damage reduction while healthy and the 30% damage reduction total. And it's just a nice, neat little package, which is going to help you out a ton. And of course, you can masterwork this. You can make the damage reduction while healthy even higher. I'm only at 4 out of 12. And if you hit the 25% on that 20% damage reduction while healthy every single time, I'm not exactly sure how high that would go. Let's go ahead and reset this real quick so we can see what the base number is, and let's see if we can run the numbers. Ooh, sneeze. So it's 18.8% damage reduction while healthy, which we don't even really need to run the numbers on this, because if you look at Tyrael's is 20. And that means that if you get all three 25% on the 20%, it's only going to be slightly higher than the damage reduction while healthy that you're getting from Soulbrand. And you have the additional 30% while the barrier is active. So without a doubt, we're going to be getting more flat damage reduction from Soulbrand than the latter. However, you do also get the maximum resistances on Tyrael's, which is not to be underestimated. However, I do think that the additional 30% damage reduction from the barrier might very well edge it out, especially if you're using temerity with that, and you get the extra damage reduction while healthy there too. It's a nice little combination. It's not exactly bad. Overall, I'm very impressed with Soulbrand this season. I think that if you have a really nice one, you shouldn't be like sad about it. I do, however, think that the majority of the Soulbrands that you're going to find are going to be garbage, and it's rather unfortunate because most of them are going to be less than 30% damage reduction on the barrier. Most of them are not going to be good on that damage reduction while healthy, and they're just going to have garbage stats. And so, for the majority of them, unfortunately, you're probably just going to want to throw them away or sell them or whatever. Even these two that I have right here, unfortunately, for all that they're worth, because I didn't get the damage reduction while healthy greater affix, and because this one rolled too low on the barrier damage reduction, they're usable, but they're not really going to be better than Tyrael's because Tyrael's just has so much going for it at the moment. I am, however, interested in, obviously looking, see if I can find a really nice one to eventually make a character around. It'd be fun to do like a full barrier character, just so many chonky boy barriers that nobody's gonna be able to touch me. You know what I mean? If you're looking for this item, if you want to find this item drops from Duriel and it drops from Andariel, and you can also get it from Tormented Duriel and Tormented Andariel. If you're ever looking to find a specific item, you can always hop over on Diablo 4.life. We've got a little tool here, and you can just punch in any of the items you want to. Like, for instance, you can put in your Soulbrand, and there you go. It tells you Duriel King, Maggot King, and Andariel Maiden of Anguish, right? That's pretty much it. And I can't believe you bit me. Rude. Why are you so grumpy today? Grumpy butts. So grumpy. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, guys and gals. Hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And as always, keep watching.